All right, homies, car's back out. Wanted to do a little video of the 5 things I do not like about the gated manual R8, but I decided, you know what, no, I'm gonna do a video after when it's not dark, but today I'll do a quick video of why the gated V10 first gen R8 is a great long-term investment. So I'm gonna name 5 things that make it a long-term investment, why I like the car. I've had the car since 2016, and then from there, another day I'll make the other video about 5 things I don't like about the car. They're minute anyways, so I'll rather make the video of why I think the car is a great investment. And it's chilly, but I'm still making the video. All right, so the first thing I really like about this car that makes it a great investment long-term is the timeless shape of this car. When Audi came out with this car in 2007, technically, 2008 is when we saw it here in Canada. That side blade profile, Iron Man, the LED lights, like all that stuff made this car just kind of something new, something that looked so out of this world. And I think just with the persona of like the Iron Man movie and everything that this car stood for at that time, it made it pretty legendary. The next thing I would say about this car that a lot of people don't realize is it shares the same platform with the Gallardo. So it has the same, not the pre-LP, but basically the LP Gallardos had the same 5.2 liter V10. And basically this engine, if you, on a Gallardo, if you take the cover off, same exact engine. If you go in this car's internals and check out all the parts of this car, you'll see that it's Audi logos. Same with the Gallardo, it's all Audi Volkswagen Group logos. So it's the same engine, same transmissions. E-gear is basically the R-tronic in the R8, and then the gated cars were similar to the Gallardo. So it's the same platform, but it has a lot more headroom. So that's the third thing. So headroom, and then the seating. So the Gallardo's interior overall was smaller in feel, especially for someone that was a little bit taller, someone that wanted more room. So this interior was a little bit more up to date with the time when the car was released than the Gallardo. So the Gallardo shared an older platform interior. So if you're a bigger guy or you need a little bit more comfort, this was the interior to have, because you got the same V10 platform and same drivability. Obviously not the Lamborghini tag and the Lamborghini price, but you get the interior that's more usable. It's just more dailyable if you think about it. If you think about it, this was one of those cars that was really dailyable at that time in all-wheel drive, right? So third thing would be the interior. Okay, the fourth thing that I really think that makes this a great investment is the fact that this is a 2010. So 13 or 14 years later, this car still stands its ground with any supercar you put beside it. And what I mean by that is, if somebody that doesn't know about cars looks at this car and they just don't know about cars, honestly, you can't tell this is a 13-year-old car. Mind you, obviously the newer stuff is faster, more technologically advanced, but I think there comes to a point where that just kind of, exceeds what a normal person that's just using these cars for their passion, weekend drivability is using it for. So I honestly love the drivability. I honestly love the fact that I can enjoy this car. I can beat on it, but it's not too fast. And the reason why I say that is because all the new stuff is so fast that after a couple of weeks you get bored of it. So in drivability range, you can keep this car for a longer time because it brings that old school mid 2000s drivability, the analog feel, the sound. It's not too much technology where you're clicking buttons on screens. It's actual physical buttons, physical dials. So I really love that about this car. And another thing about this car that I think makes it a valuable car going forward is they stopped the production of the V10. So obviously there's 2 generations, first and second. I think both generations are going to do really well on retention of their price. So if you want to get into a car that's going to hold its value while you enjoy it for a couple of years, I think that would be a good platform to do it. So, because if you think about it, they're not making V10s anymore after this 2024 year. So anybody that has a first or second gen R8, V8, V10, whatever it may be, you're going to have a platform that they're not going to make anymore. And in the car world, when things are harder to get, you know, obviously the demand is there for a clean vehicle, a vehicle that hasn't been crashed. And as time goes on, after especially 10, 15 years, 20 years of car being in production, being sold, car being sold and in production, what happens is a lot of them get crashed, a lot of them get misabused, or they just get left stranded and abandoned or whatnot, right? So if you take care of these cars, I think they're always going to give you, especially the money back on your investment. I mean, it's not an investment in general. I would say cars are never an investment, but you know, obviously it makes this car special because they're not going to make it anymore. And the last thing that I can really say about this car that I really love is obviously the gated shifter. This right here is the most joyful driving experience I've ever had, and I've owned a couple of cars, and there is nothing like driving with those clicking sounds going through the gears, hearing that engine. And honestly, like, as I said, the newer stuff is definitely faster, but when you get to a certain point of owning cars, you start to look for your connection with the car, your drivability with the car. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, you get in, it doesn't have to be the latest and greatest. Sometimes what you need is a car you can push. So this car right here, I've had friends drive it. I've had people that I know drive it, and they've loved it. And honestly, sound is great, looks are great. I mean, there are a couple of things that I've had to sort out on it, which I'll talk in another video. But if you get it packaged right with some carbon fiber pieces, interior, if you get the full interior package like this car is packed, it has a carbon Sigma pack, then at the end of the day, your spec, because of the spec, the value of the spec is always going to be retentioning the value, right? So meaning it's going to retain its value over time. It's going to retain its value throughout the longer period of time. So I don't worry too much about that. And you know what? The one thing that I say makes this car really special in the long run is the fact that Audi really nailed the platform, right? They made a supercar you can daily. They made it, obviously, in the first gen, they made the V8s and V10s, but you know, they made a platform that you could say kind of brought supercar territory, because the other car that kind of did that, I would say, is this GTR, but GTR obviously was a lot faster, right? Back in 09. But the R8, the looks of the car paired with Audi drivability in the sense of everyday usability is what makes this car so special. And I truly believe that in another 10, 15, 20 years, you will see these cars in high demand. And I think that this car has aged like fine wine. And I mean, that is why I've reverted it back to kind of an OEM plus build. And so I didn't want to do too much to it. Obviously, I put my little touches, but I can always revert back to OEM, right? And for me, the main thing owning this car now has been trying to get everything up to spec in the sense of maintenance, etc. And I've been trying to keep up with that. So as cars get older, little things go. So as I was saying before, you know, I usually warm it up. I just took the car out, I warm it up, and then I check for what's leaking or what something, you know, anything that can go wrong, any noises that you might hear. And it is dark outside. I know, guys, I was just, working today, long day, but I thought I'd make a video. I got some light back in the back. So let's give it a start. And then I'll try to roll through these gears as best as I can, holding my camera. All right. So I gotta put my seatbelt down. That's the only thing with the recording and trying to drive a manual car. It's the hard part. I want to get some mounts inside the car, but I don't want the video to come out disordered. So I'm kind of searching how that's going to be and how that's going to go. And we'll see how that plays. But right now I got to invest in obviously some camera gear for the vlogging sessions, I guess. And I love the steering wheel feel in this car. I mean, honestly, like, it's not electronic. It's like, it's definitely connected, well connected to the road, and just, and one thing I really love is the fact that this car looks like, oh my god, it's so low, it won't clear things, but they've made it in such a way where the clearance is actually really good. And I find that compared to other supercars, the clearance is so good. And for me, that was a surprise when I initially bought the car. But as I said, the clicking noise is just unbelievably satisfying, and I truly love every aspect of that, because for me, it's the simple stuff that gets me going. You know, it's the stuff that you know, you can't get anymore. You can't just go buy. It's the stuff that gives me a rush from engaging with it. So another car I could think of that does that is like the 997 Porsche, right? So the 911 version, and the 997 era, and I think that car drives really well. I'm not comparing this car to a 997, but what I'm saying is, in the terms of long-term ownership, it's a car that if you buy for the right price, and obviously you think and you do the comparables at the time, I don't think you'll lose too much money on it, and you can actually drive it, own it, enjoy it, maintain it, and then sell it, and you can have the full Audi R8 experience. So the season's gonna begin now, and I'm just, as I said, I'm excited because this YouTube thing isn't as easy as it looks. So you know, driving with one hand here, but I'm gonna try to getting the ball cap camera mount as well. But yeah, this clicking noise is just amazing. Like right now, I'm just kind of warming it up fully, getting everything going. But as I said, just gated manual is just chef's kiss. That's what I would say. And great night, good night for a cruise. In the nighttime, I usually go for a little drive. I wanted you guys to kind of, you know, come along with me for the first drive of the season, and just kind of talk a little bit about why I think the V10 gated R8 is a great long-term investment, if you can call it. But yeah, hope you guys have a good week. I'll try to get more videos out, as I said. Weather's picking up back up, and make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm starting to get a hang of what to say at the end of the videos now, you know. And yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Give me a comment for what you think I can make videos on. Give me some topics. I'll definitely try to make those videos for you. And yeah, see you guys in the next video.